story. As it turns out, I think everyone knows that on August 27th, there was some destruction of property out at the Labor Museum on Atherton and Van Slyke. And my investigator started looking at it, and what we found was some paint and a chair behind the tree line, and we were told that they saw some kids running. So on the 29th of August, my investigator was doing a door-to-door, knocking on doors, seeing if they saw anything. And one of the people said, yeah, I saw some kids running, and I think they live over there. So he went up and he knocked on the door, and he walked in, and he was talking to the mother. And he said, we're investigating a destruction of property. And she invited him to sit down, and he realized he was sitting in the very same chair that matched the chair that he found out where they found the paint. So that was a pretty good sign. And he spoke to two of the three kids. The third one, the mother's bringing them in, but they're 9, 10, and 11 years old. And I talked to Steve Dawes, the Assistant Regional Director at the UAW, and what Steve would like to do, rather than, he asked us not to pursue anything with the courts, but instead what he would like to do with the upcoming, the approaching Labor Day event that they're having on Monday out there, he wants to bring the kids in and give them a hamburger and review with them the history of the labor movement. And what's really significant about all of this is, you know, at a time now when they're talking about taking down statues of heroes from the Civil War or leaders on both sides, we're dealing with statues as well, only they're statues that are being defaced of people who really were instrumental in the labor movement back in 1937. And I think what is probably most disturbing to all of the people, not only in the Union, but people that were born and raised in here, is that it's really a big part of Flint's history, the Labor Museum. And they feature it every Labor Day. So I'm hoping that Steve Dawes will have these young kids out there on Labor Day listening to some of the old timers talking about what those statues really meant. I'm sure he'll have them do a little bit of rehabilitation too, maybe sweeping up, but all of the damage can be replaced. They've power washed all of the statues and memorials. There's some broken windows that can't be replaced, and they were windows that were taken from Fisher Body 1 that were the original windows in a sit-down strike. But I wanted to bring this story to you because I think it has the real human element to it, that you know, 3 kids created a lot of heartache for people. The face statues that are memorable, that nobody can say, let's take them down, you know, they did a bad thing. These were just hardworking people. So I'm hoping that you'll go out there, you'll talk to Steve Dawes, you'll take a look. I know I've seen it on all of the stations. Some of the destruction of property, you featured it on the news shows, and that's all been cleaned up and they're ready to go for Monday morning. It's kind of has a nice ending, and the kids are not bad kids. I want to say that, you know, they did a dumb thing. They're not criminals, they made a mistake. And they're crying and their mother's threatening them. It's just, but for the grace of God, there go a lot of us. You know, when we were younger, 9, 10, 11, they made a bad decision. And the upside of it is the UAW, they always say they're union with a big heart. Well, in this case, they do. They have a big heart. They want to work with the kids, buy them a hamburger, and talk to them about what those statues mean to the labor people.